I am at it again. I'm about to brew a very dark beer, a defibrillator Doppelbock, 7.0% alcohol content. I'll be just in time for the winter, well actually late fall here in Cleveland, Ohio. Something to keep us warm. Let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to give you a tour of the ingredients first. The first thing we have is called a booster. It is basically corn syrup made into a solid that can be used to put in the beer so that the yeast can have more to feed on. We have an unhopped malt extract called Creamy Brown. We have a hop malt extract called Doppelbock. We have honey. This is a one-step cleanser. We have to sanitize everything. Everything has to be sanitized, and this is what's going to do that for us. Here we have the beer keg. This is where the beer is going to ferment. And then we have just basic utensils, a can opener, a spoon, a measuring cup, and a plate. The plate's going to be used to put sanitizer in so that we can sit stuff on where we're not using it. First step is to fill the keg with warm water. And then we're going to fill it, then we're going to add some sanitizer to that. We're going to throw our utensils in there and let it sit. That'll let them sanitize for a while. Add the one-step cleanser in there. This is basically a sanitizing agent to make sure everything is sanitized. We don't want any kind of bacteria in there because the yeast will eat that and then the beer will taste bitter. So I'm just going to pour that into my warm water. Just going to add my utensils into the beer keg with the sanitizing agent. And then I'm going to shake that up and let that sit for 10 minutes. Now what I have to do is put some of this sanitizing agent in this plate to make sure that I have a place to put my utensils when I'm not using them. That way they stay sanitized. This plate will be sanitized by this, and anything I put on it is going to remain sanitized. So that's it. I'm going to remove all of my utensils from the brew keg, and then once I've done that, I'm going to replace this sanitizing water with regular water, and then that regular water will then become part of the beer. I'm going to fill the keg with cold water to about 1/4 of the way full. As you can see, I use a filter for mine because I like filtered water, makes the beer taste smoother. And also this water is going to help buffer the impact of the hot malt extract as I pour it in there, because I have to boil that. When I pour it in here, this cold water is going to cool it off so that I don't melt my brew keg. Okay, now I'm going to fill the I'm going to fill a pot with 4 cups of cold water. Okay, I'm going to take this water. I'm going to put it over here on the stove, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the booster that I described to you earlier, which is basically solidified cornstarch, and I'm going to pour it into the water so that it dissolves, and then I'll go from there. Okay, I have to pour this booster in here a little at a time, so I'm not going to videotape this because I have to pour it and stir it at the same time so that it dissolves. So I'll show you the end result. Okay, I am still stirring the cornstarch. It takes about 10 minutes, and you can see that there's still some chunks in there. This stuff starts to coagulate together, and it takes a while to break it down and let it dissolve. So I'm just going to keep stirring this until it all dissolves, and I'll keep going. Okay, I got the corn syrup solids all dissolved now. There's no chunks left in there. Now we're ready to pour in the malt extract. Okay, our corn syrup water mixture is now boiling, so we need to remove that from the heat. I have my malt extract sitting in a tub of hot water, very hot water. That's going to allow it to soften up a bit so it's easy to pour out of the cans. That's going to get poured into the corn syrup mixture that I'm getting prepared now. Okay, this recipe calls for honey, so I'm going to pour some of that into a cup. I'm going to get 1 cup of honey, and I'm going to pour that into the corn syrup concoction that I've prepared already. Pouring in my cup of honey. Get that all poured in there. Just need to stir that honey up. Get that all mixed up in there real good. Next, I'm going to add my malted extract. Okay, I got my malt extract. That's going to go in next. But I'm going to go ahead and pour these in there and stir them up. I'm just going to start pouring one in here just to show you what it looks like. It's a thick, very syrupy, thick mixture. And I'm going to pour both of these cans in there, and we'll move on from there. I got my malt extract all poured into the corn syrup mixture. And now we got a very thick, syrupy wort is what it's called. And this wort will eventually be poured into the beer keg, and the yeast will feast on this wort for several weeks up to a month to create beer. Okay, I'm not going to be able to film myself while I pour the wort into the keg, so I'm going to have my wife do that for me. So here we go. Let's go ahead and do the final steps. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pour this wort into the brew keg. You're going to make me spill it. Okay, now that I got my wort poured into the keg, I have to bring the volume of water up to about, I don't remember the amount, but up to, I need to fill it up with water. So once it's all filled up, I'm going to stir it up, throw some yeast in it, let that sit for a few minutes, and then I'm going to stir it some more. We're almost done. So now I'm just going to stir that wort in there real good, make sure that all the water and the wort is all mixed up really good. Now I'm going to sprinkle the yeast into the wort mixture and just sprinkle it in there nice and spread it around. This yeast is a live organism, and it needs to be activated. So it's going to sit here for 5 minutes, get all nice and activated, and then I'm going to stir it in there, and then it's going to do its job. It's going to make us a nice, thick, frosty defibrillator doppelback. Okay, 5 minutes has passed. Let's check on our yeast. It's still there somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and stir that up. Get that yeast nice and stirred up in there. Keep them all separated so they can do their job. Okay, our beer is all done. We've went through all of the steps of the process. This beer is going to sit for 4 months and ferment. Then I'm going to bottle it. It's going to sit for 2 weeks, and then it's going to lager for another 4 weeks. So it probably won't be till mid-November till this beer is ready. So it'll be ready just in time for Thanksgiving and the holidays throughout December. And there you have it. That's how you brew beer.